Hi, this is Mrs. Robertson, and today we are going to be doing Lesson 5 from Chapter 5. So Chapter 5, Lesson 5, and this is located on page 387. And in our real world link, we are going to be talking about bugs, insects. It says the lengths of several common types of insects are shown in the table. Which of the insects is the longest? When you look at these insects, which one is the longest? It sort of surprised me which one. Which one do you think is the longest? Yes. The cricket. Yes, the cricket is a full inch. 1/1 is the same thing as 1 full inch. So the cricket is the longest of those insects listed. Okay, everyone write that down. Now it says, shade each fraction strip to represent the lengths of a fire ant and a housefly. Which is longer? Okay, so the fire ant is 1/3. So let's shade 1/3 for fire ant. I'm going to just put the initials FA so I know it's the fire ant. And the housefly is 1/4. HF for housefly. All right. So which one is longer? Well, that's pretty easy. Which one is it? Fire ant. 1/3 is longer than a half. Now in question 3. How many of the insects are longer than a half an inch? Well, let's see. How many of them? 3/4 is longer than a half an inch. That one is not. 3/4. That one is not. Longer. That one is a half an inch. 5/8 is more because 4/8 would be a half an eighth. So we have 1, 2, oh, and the cricket. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Altogether there are 4. It didn't say to list them, did it? So let's just put 4 insects. I almost forgot to count the cricket. Number 4, order the lengths of a housefly, a green June beetle, and the fire ant from shortest to longest. Housefly, 1/4, 3/4, and a third. Okay, which one is smaller? 1/4 or a third? Class? 1/4. So we're going to have 1/4, then it's 1/3, and the largest amount is what? 3/4. Okay. Any questions on how we did that? All right, let's go on to the next page, 388. Compare decimals and fractions. All right. Positive and negative rational numbers can be represented on a number line. You can use a number line to help you compare and order rational numbers. All right. It's wonderful when the number line's already done for you. It's very easy. It says, fill in each circle with less than, greater than, or equal to make a true statement. Well, negative is going to be smaller than a positive. It gets the little point. Now let's graph it. They've already graphed it for you. Put -1 2/10 is there. 8/10 is there. Remember, the dot on the left is always smaller than the dot on the right. Correct? Okay. Now let's go to this one. -1 4/10 and -1.25. Okay. So I'm going to let you know if we extended this up a little further, let's say this is 0. All right. So we have -1.4 here, 1.25 there. Here, the lower the number, the smaller it is. So which number gets the point? -1.4. It's like it's worse to owe $1.40 than $1.25, right? Think of it like money, and it makes it a little bit easier for you. Now let's go to the next one, number 3, where we have fractions. -3/8 and -5/16. It says, rename the fractions using the least common denominator. All right, kids, underline that, least common denominator. So, between an 8 and a 16, will 8 divide 16? Yeah. How many times? 2, that's right. So 3/8, 8 times 2 is 16. 3 times 2 is 6, is -6/16, okay? Now, which one gets the point? We're in the negative world. Is -6 going to get the point or -5 going to get the point? In the negative world, which one is smaller? -6 is smaller. In the negative world, the bigger the number, the smaller it is, okay? Owing $50 is worse than owing $49. Owing $6 is worse than owing $5, right? So think of it as owing money, and I think it helps you understand it a little bit better. All right, and then they also had a number line here to help you verify that. All right, now let's look at, are your answers in your book for these? Okay, I thought so. Mine, let's just look at it. There's a mistake. The answers are in your book on this lesson. 3 1/10 is positive. That's negative. Well, when you're comparing a positive to a negative, you know the negative always gets the point. Just put a little dot on the point. -4.5, -4.49. Now, you can also think of it as -4.50. And 50 is smaller than a 49. It gets the dot. Do you see where it's not just a 5 because we have to compare to the hundredths place? 9/16 and 12/16. This is the positive world. 9 is less than 12 in the positive world. Here, what's my common denominator going to be between a 10 and a 5? 10. That's right. We're in the negative world. 5 times 2 is 10. 4 times 2 is 8. Now, in the negative world, owing 8 is worse than owing 7. So this one gets the point. Any questions? All right, let's go to the next page, 389. Compare and order rational numbers. To compare and order rational numbers, first write them in the same form. All right, well, look what we have here. We're comparing a decimal and a fraction. It says rename -8/15 as a decimal. Then graph both decimals on a number line. Well, let's show our division work, kids. 8 divided by 15. Put it in your box. Everyone do this. Add a decimal point. How many 15s are in an 8? 0. How many 15s are in an 80? 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry a 2. We get a 75. Subtract. You get a 5. Add another 0 or a dotty dot. Bring it down. How many 15s are in a 50? 3. 3 15s will be a 45. Subtract. Oh, and it's going to repeat. Now, will the 5 and the 3 repeat or just the 3? Just the 3. So, we know that this is -0.53. Now, what's so hard about with the 3 repeating? You have to remember, am I in the positive world or am I in the negative world? Well, in this problem, we're in the negative world. And in the negative world, the bigger the number, the smaller it is. So this one gets the point. Got it? See why that one gets the point? Okay, let's look at the next one. Here we have a decimal and 2 fractions. All right. And you sometimes have to think, is it going to be easier to change them to decimals or to fractions? This one, it's decimals. Why? Because -2 1/10 is -2.1, right? And that one is a factor of, and then say, oh, is 25 a factor of 10 or 100? Yeah, it's a factor of 100. 25 times 4 is 100. So 22 times 4 is 88. So that's negative 2.88 and negative 2.46. All right, so I have negative 2 and 46 hundredths. I have negative 2 and 88 hundredths. And I have negative 2 and 1/10. If you want to just add a 0 so it's in the hundredths too, they're all in the hundredths. Put them in order from least to greatest. Well, in the negative world, the least is going to be your biggest number, which is what? Negative 2.88, right? So let's just write that over here. Negative 2 and 88 hundredths. Is everyone's pencil moving? Now I see more of them moving. Good. What's my next number going to be? What's the next to the biggest as far as digits, but it's smallest in value? Which one is that? Yes? Actually, that's our largest number. It's 2.46. Negative 2 and 46 hundredths are middle. And our largest is negative 2 and 10 hundredths because we're living in the negative world. Okay? Then look at it. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. And here they graphed it for you to look at it. Negative 2 and 88 hundredths is just to the right of the negative 3. Negative 2 and 46 hundredths is just to the right of negative 2 and 5/10 or 50 hundredths. And negative 2 and 1/10 is in between negative 2 and negative 2.25. Any questions on that? Now, in the answer, they went back and they put it in the original form. Do you see what they did? Negative 2 and 88 hundredths is negative 2 and 22 25ths. Do you see how they got that number? Negative 2.46 was in that same form, and this one was also written in fraction form. All right, now let's do E, F, and G. In this problem here, I am going to change 5/8 to a decimal. So let's do 5 divided by 8. Goes into 5 0 times. 6 times 8 is 48. Write that down. Subtract. I get a 2. Add a dotty dot. Bring it down. 8 goes into 22 times. That's 16. Subtract. Add a 0. Bring it down. Well, look what we have here. 0.625, 0.625. So this is negative 3.625. They are what, class? Equal. Yeah. All right, 3/7 and 413 thousandths. It's going to be easier to change 3/7 to a decimal. So let's do that. On your paper, 3 goes in the box, 7 goes outside of it. I will be walking around to make sure you're showing your work. 4 times, that's 28. Subtract, add another 0, bring it down. It goes into that 2 times, 14. Subtract. It'll go into that 8 times, 56. Subtract, you get a 4. Add another 0. You know what, I can stop right now, can't I? You know what? I could have stopped at the 2, couldn't I? Yeah, because we're just comparing. So I know that we're in the positive world, so 0.42, I could have stopped right then, is bigger than 0.413. Remember, we're in the positive world, so it's going to look like that. Now for this one. I'm going to change this to a fraction, okay? So I'm going to show my work for this one over here. I need to get this over 100, so that'll be negative 20 times 5 is 100. 13 times 5 is 5, carry 1, 65 over 100. That's going to be negative 7 and 78 over 100. And this is negative 7 and 17 over 100. Now, this is the negative world. Which one? Oh, they want greatest. Which one has the most value? Yes.
Negative 7 and 17.
Right. Negative 7 and 17 hundredths is the biggest of that group of numbers. Okay? What's my middle number going to be? Yeah, Alex, it's this one, isn't it? And the way they had that one, that is negative 7 and 13 twentieths. Negative 7 and 13 twentieths is the original way it was written. And the one with the least amount of value is negative 7 and 78 hundredths. Okay, let me put little things on the bottom so they look like sevens and not ones. Any questions on this? You have to be careful. You always have to think, am I in the positive world or am I in the negative world? Okay, let's go on to page 390. We have a word problem here. Mr. Plum's science class is growing plants under different conditions. Have you ever grown plants in any of your science classes or classes? I thought you had. That's always a fun experiment to do. The table shows the difference from the average of some students' plants. Order the differences from least to greatest. Wow, a couple of them must have shrunk, right? That's pretty sad that their plant got smaller instead of bigger. Oh well, let's put them in order from least to greatest. And kids, when I do these problems, I always underline to make sure I'm paying attention. Least to greatest. So on the quiz tomorrow, pay attention to say, oh, I'm going least to greatest, okay, to make sure you do it the right way. So which one's going to be the smallest? Well, it's going to be negative world, right? That one's going to be your smallest. So let's put down negative 2.2. The next one, negative 1 and 7/10. Any questions on that? Now, this was really pretty easy. What's the next number? We have this one and this one. Which one am I going to put down next? 1 and 7/10. Yeah, they're actually the same. Well, no, this one's negative world, this one's not. And the biggest is 3 and 1/4. Now, here they went ahead and changed them to decimals, but did you have to change these to decimals to really compare them? No. Always look to see if you have to compare them or not. All right, kids? All right, everyone good with our 6 examples today? All right, good. Now let's go on to our guided practice. And some of these are really easy. Look at this one. Which one's going to get the little point? Is it 9 and 7/10 or negative 10 and 3/10? Which one gets the little point? Quinn? Right, the negative number is going to get the little point. So 9 and 7/10 is greater than negative 10 and 3/10. Okay, which one gets the little point? I can't believe these are so easy. Negative 3/8 gets the little point. Nice job. Which one? Oh, what is this one? They're equal to. Yes, very good. In this one, okay, this is the negative world. We're in the negative world. We're going to change 5/6 to a decimal. 5 divided by 6. 6 goes into 58 times. Oh, I can stop right there, can't I? Because they're different. So I have negative 0.8 and negative 0.94. Which one gets the point in negative world? What? It's one of the negatives. Is it? Which one is the smallest in negative world? Negative 94 hundredths. Very good. In negative world, that is the smallest. Now, order the following from least to greatest. Okay. Well, I know it's going to be one of these in negative world, right? Now, in negative world, which of those is the smaller amount? We don't have to find, we know that 3/4 and 1/3 are different. Which one is the most negative? On a number line, which one would go to the farthest left? Yes? Excellent. -3 and 3/4 is the farthest left on the number line. -3 and 1/3. Now, we have this one and this one left. This is pretty easy. Which one's the next number? We're in positive world. 3.3. And the largest, 3.5. That was pretty easy, wasn't it? Yeah. Let's go to this one. Okay, circle the negative numbers. -2 and 1/10 and -2. Ooh. Which one is farther left on the number line? -2 and 1/10 or -2? 2 and 1/10. -2 and 1/10 is the smallest. Then it's -2. Now, this is 2 and 1/10 repeating and 2 and 1/11. So 2 and 1/10 is going to be bigger than 2 and 1/11. Now that gets a little confusing. Let's just change 1/11 to a decimal. 1 divided by 11. How many 11s? 0 and a 10. So we already are at 2.0. Add another one. It goes into it 9 times. So this, as a decimal, is 2.09. And that's smaller than 2.1 repeating. So it'll be 2 and 1/11. And 2 and 1/10 repeating is our largest number. Hello, you have some math books for me? All right, put them down right there, okay? And I will be over in just a moment. Yes? Yes, I am. It's not showing up on your screen, but it is on mine. Last one. Order these amounts from least to greatest. All right, my negatives are going to be my least. It's going to be $6.75, $6.50, then it's $7, and the largest amount is $7.25. Any questions? Did you get that written down? Okay, so for homework tonight and classwork, this is what I would like for you to do. On page 391, all, and on page 392, I want you to do number 10. All you have to do is you put your own numbers in there, but I want an example of a terminating decimal and a fraction. Fill in the diagram with appropriate numbers. Terminating decimals, negative numbers. Oh, on second thought, that one I do think is sort of confusing. Let's just put some examples in there right now. Terminating decimals, you could have 0 and 75 hundredths, 3 and 75. Terminating means they stop. Okay, did you write those down for this problem? I don't see everyone's pencils moving. Some terminating. Here we want some more decimals. We can have negative 7 and 1/10, negative 0.5. They wanted negative numbers here. And here, negative 1/3 as an example. Negative 4.6 repeating. Those are all examples of things you could have in there. All right. All right, so the only thing you have to do, page 391 now, 1 to 9. We will grade this tomorrow. Make sure you do a good job.